Ladies and gentlemen, I definitely appreciate you guys being here. And I know a lot of these stories are very difficult to listen to. And some of the things that I say might not sit well with a lot of people's sensibilities. So I'm going to warn you now. I'm going to talk about this story in a very honest fashion. I'm going to talk about some facts, and then I'm going to give my opinion about how it even got to this point, okay? So if you cannot handle that content, if you're family, friends, or just somebody that don't like what I have to say, then I get it, I understand. This might not be the video for you. So now that that disclaimer is out there, everybody else ought to understand, and we should be good to talk about this story, all right? This story comes out of East St. Louis, and there was a house fire, and this house fire was really, really bad. The reason why it was really, really bad is because there were children that were involved. There was not one child involved. There were five. 5 children involved. 5 children lost their life in a house fire. I know people might have a lot of questions. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you guys the story, and then I'm going to give you my opinion about the details, okay? So 5 tiny metal caskets. Let me see if I can show you guys that. Let me fast forward real quick. Right here. That picture alone says so much. 5 tiny metal caskets lined the front of the church Saturday, each wrapped in a custom vinyl design. A picture of a pony for the youngest child, who was 2 years old, by the name of Loy-el. Scenery from a favorite video game on the casket of the oldest child, 9 years old, Deontay. All 5 caskets bathed in pinks and blues. Sabrina Dunnigan is the mother, and Sabrina Dunnigan's 5 children died on August the 6th. Very recently, that was 20 days ago from today. Died in an apartment fire. Its cause still undetermined, so they don't know the cause of the house fire. Their grandfather and his wife say that they jumped from the apartment's 2nd floor while Dunnigan was away picking up her boyfriend. I'm going to read that again, because let me tell you guys a tidbit of information. That's the biological mother. We're going to get to that. Please be patient. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the smoke detectors. We're going to get to all of these details, okay? In the initial story that I looked up, it said that the mother had left the house to go pick up a friend from work. It said the mother went to pick up a friend from work. That sound like, when you hear that in the media, it sounds like maybe she picked up one of her girlfriends, you know, like a friend, like a female friend, pick her up from work because maybe they didn't have a car or something like that. But when you hear the details of what really happened, and you just hear that sentence when they say that the mother was away picking up her boyfriend, doesn't that sound just a little bit different? Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get real deep. So if you guys would, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. It helps share this stream and let more people know that we're live. I have some breaking information that I have to tell you guys about. And I got to say thank you right there in the chat to Illicit Deeds. That is my friend and my sister. I support her. Illicit Deeds just gave me some information that I didn't even know. I want y'all to bookmark this information in your brain. The boyfriend set the apartment on fire before. I'm going to trust my sister and her information and her research because she works damn hard at what she does. I want y'all to repost just that sentence. Boyfriend set the apartment on fire before. Type that in the chat if y'all can. Boyfriend set the apartment on fire before. We're going to bookmark that in our brain. We'll come back to it. The community is hurting. East St. Louis Mayor Robert Easton III said before Saturday's funeral, "We will stand in support of the mom, emotionally and spiritually." They said they're going to stand in support of the mom. The mayor was a boy 40 years ago and vaguely recalls 11 children dying in an East St. Louis house fire while their mother was out gambling. Oh my God. Who? Why would he even say this? Y'all make it seem like, not y'all, but people make it seem like I'm the one trying to paint this bad picture about mothers and black women. But why would he say this? He did not have to say what he said. He said 40 years ago, he recalls 11 children dying in an East St. Louis house fire while the mother was out gambling. It sounds like what he's saying is that particular mother back then, 40 years ago, was being irresponsible. So I would assume that if you're bringing that up in reference to this story, then you might be trying to say that that mother is also a level of irresponsible, right? But let's hold our judgment. Let's tell you guys the rest of the story. Stories of that tragedy still circulate, but Eastern and the others in the crowd Saturday of some 300 mourners experienced a similarly moving event. 5 coffins, 5 hearses, I guess. The mourners, masked up due to COVID-19 rules, sat shoulder to shoulder inside the Greater St. Mark Church of God in Christ. I guess you could have a mask on and then you could be within 6 feet. This whole thing is stupid. Anyway, so you could have a mask on and you could be in less than 6 feet. But I thought they said you have to have a mask on and be 6 feet apart. Anyway, that's here nor there. All eyes were on the mother, Sabrina Dunnigan, sobbing and so overcome by sadness that her legs nearly went limp, and she leaned on a woman ushering her to the front pew. In addition to Loy-el Dunnigan and her brother, Deontay Lewis, and the siblings who died were a 4-year-old boy, Jabari Johnson, and twin 8-year-old girls, Heaven and Nevaeh Vea Dunnigan. So Heaven and Nevaeh, of course, Heaven is spelled backwards is Nevaeh. Okay? Now, Sheila Dunnigan, the children's great aunt, spoke directly to Sabrina Dunnigan from the lectern. She said, "We all know, your whole entire family knows, that you were a great mom and loved those children." As if that were in question. But maybe it should be in question. Deontay was remembered as being protective of his sisters. He wanted to be a policeman when he grew up. Nevaeh loved butterflies and nature. Heaven enjoyed playing dress up. Jabari loved all kinds of food and food shows. And Loy-el had a smile that could light up a room. The cause is still unknown. We're going to get to those screenshots. You guys if y'all are looking at these screenshots, don't look at them too closely. We're going to get back to them. We're going to get back to all of that. We got a lot to talk about. The Illinois State Fire Marshal's Office said that Friday afternoon that the fire had killed Dunnigan's children was still under investigation. The children died of smoke inhalation, but the manner of death, such as accident or homicide, is still to be determined. Let me say that again. The manner of death, such as an accident or homicide, is still to be determined, according to Coroner Calvin Dye Sr. Sabrina Dunnigan, the mother, and her father, Greg Dunnigan, Both previously told the news they suspect it was an electrical fire and said the cramped apartment lacked smoke detectors. I hate to continue to steal Tommy's catchphrases, but you can't make this stuff up. But it seems so fitting. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Let me read this again. They suspect it was an electrical fire and said the cramped apartment lacked smoke detectors. The landlord countered, saying he put smoke detectors in all of its rental properties. Bookmark that. We'll come back to it. Fire officials initially indicated the children had been left home alone. That's where the problem starts. The children had been left home alone, but Greg Dunnigan said he and his wife live in a separate part of the apartment and woke up to smoke. Oh my goodness. They woke up to smoke. He said the flames forced him back and he couldn't get to the grandchildren. The family of 8 was staying in a 1-bedroom apartment, Greg Dunnigan said. But you know what they say? They say this is the police's fault. They say that, you know, they're a victim of their circumstance. They scream white supremacy. They scream, you know, defund the police. They scream all of these different things. Let's recap. There are Greg Dunnigan and his wife. That's 2. Greg Dunnigan and his wife. That's 2. Then you have the mom. That's 3. Then you have 5 children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sometimes probably her boyfriend, which would make this many. This many. 8 to 9 people. In a 1-bedroom apartment. What is wrong with these people? But something is wrong with me? Y'all don't like what I got to say? Oh my goodness. Y'all pray for me. I'm about to cuss some people out. 8 to 9 individual people in a 1-bedroom apartment. Sorry for screaming in y'all ear. I'm sorry about that. Let me explain to y'all how stupid this is. First and foremost, when a woman has a child, and I have to say this, not all, okay? Not all. Most of the time, when women have children outside of wedlock, there are things that most women can get in each and every city, in each and every state. Section 8. If you apply for it and if you get approved for it. Just for having children. Number 2, food stamps. Just for having children. And that can actually incrementally go up each and every extra child that you have. Third thing you could get. You could get car vouchers for transportation. You could get paid for daycare. You could also get reduced or free lunch at school. You could also get energy assistance. You could also get child support for each and every child that you have per their fathers. And I'm assuming that these children have more than one father. I'm going to assume that the way that we normally procreate, not all, but normally, if you look at this, there's a good likelihood that these children have 2 or more fathers in total, between 5 children. Then on top of that, you're talking about grandparents living in your home. And let me ask you guys something, because we're talking about, this is a generational thing, clearly. How is it that the grandparents didn't put themselves in a position to be able to take care of themselves for the rest of their life? Because isn't that what you're supposed to do from the time that you move out of your parents' house, usually at age 18, and work up until you're about 50 to 60 years old, or, you know, depending on whenever you retire. Then when you retire, then your retirement is supposed to take care of you. You're supposed to have a home, your own place to live, right? Now, I know that there are situations where people have to take care of their grandparents. I've seen it. My mom and dad have had to help my mom's dad, but my grandmother was able to take care of herself. My dad's mother was able to take care of herself. My great-grandparents were able to take care of themselves. But I know what happens sometimes. I know every situation is not the same. I get it. I get it. But F that. F that. How can you be doing so bad that you need to piggyback off of a single mother? Do y'all understand where I'm coming from? Let me explain that again. You're not talking about a family unit. You're not talking about somebody who's stable. You're not talking about somebody who can provide for themselves. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? This woman can't take care of herself. She can't take care of her 5 kids. What in the world did they think that she was going to be able to take care of 2 grown elder people on top of that? With no husband? Boyfriend don't equivocate to husband. Sorry, it don't. I know a lot of people think that if she got a boyfriend or they baby daddies, that equivocates to the same thing as a marriage. It doesn't. It does not. And then you'd have to ask yourself this mother, and yes, I'm going to bash the mothers because that's the only word that a lot of people know how to refer to what I say about these people who cause their children to be in these situations where they get murdered or die. Yes, I said that. She caused this. I don't know how old this mother is, but I'm going to assume that she's probably close to 30 years old with the fact that she has 5 kids. If she's younger than that, then Lord bless her stupid soul. I would hope that she's at least 30, but I don't know what her age is. At what point did you realize that all you have is a 1-bedroom apartment? There was some point in time that you didn't have any children, right? I don't know what age. I know the children's age, but we don't know the mother's age, so we can't say what age the mother is, right? So mom had her first kid. Did mom have something better than a 1-bedroom apartment? Maybe, maybe not. She made a conscious decision to get pregnant a second time and a third time and a fourth time. Not 5 times, because one of the sets of kids are twins. So she got pregnant 4 different times. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times. At what point did you realize you only have a 1-bedroom apartment? Where in the F word were these kids sleeping? In the bathroom, in the tub? Where is CPS when you need them? Where is Child Protective Services at? Where is the hashtag see something, say something at? Anybody? Where are your neighbors at? Guys, there is so much. We got to talk about these screenshots. Let's move past. Let me take out the rest of the story before I really go off on the mom, because I got a lot more to say. Anyway, so no smoke detectors is what they're saying, but the landlord is saying, no, I had smoke detectors in all of his rental properties. Fire officials initially indicated the children had been left alone, but Greg Dunnigan and his wife live in a separate part of the apartment. Guys, they said that the grandparents live in a separate part of the one-bedroom apartment. Which part did they live in if it's only one bedroom? Because I'm going to assume that the mom lived in one bedroom. The kids probably, let's just say if all the kids, that's 6 people in one bedroom, right? So what part of the one bedroom apartment did the grandparents allegedly live in? The bathroom? The kitchen? If they even have a front room? If it's a one bedroom apartment, was it a studio or was it a full apartment? I don't know. Anyway, the family of 8 was staying in the one bedroom apartment, according to Greg Dunnigan. These are not my words. Greg Dunnigan said it. So if you don't like what I got to say, then y'all can go contact Greg Dunnigan. He said it, not me. The mother, Sabrina Dunnigan, had returned to the North 29th Street, North 29th Street at about 3 a.m. that day, her birthday, to find her apartment filled with smoke and fire. I want y'all to keep this in mind because these people might change their article. When this story initially came out, they said that the mom went to go pick up a friend from work. This article that I'm reading from stlouistoday.com says the mother, it was her birthday and she was out until 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe they converted the pantry into a small bedroom. Shout out to my brother Relationship Rehab, by the way, y'all. Lord have mercy. So it was her birthday. So here's the thing. They keep trying to say that she left the kids at the house alone. But did they really if the grandparents were there? So here's why I have to take one of the check marks off of the mother to indict her. I'm going to be fair. We got to take one check mark off of the mother because if she left the kids with the grandparents, then wasn't there an adult in the house, let alone 2 adults? Guys, and speaking of that pantry relationship rehab, bro, I'm thinking about this fire. And y'all, let me show y'all a picture of this apartment. And if y'all are listening to this story, please click the thumbs up. Our goal tonight is to try to get 600 thumbs up because I want as many people to hear this story as humanly possible. If we can get 1 million people here, that would be awesome. Okay? I want y'all to look at this. This is what it looks like. They tried to say that the grandparents were unable to get to the grandchildren. How much square footage do y'all think it is if you look at this picture of that apartment? What y'all think that is? About 400, 500 square feet? Were they in like a fucking coma or something? Excuse my language. I'm sorry. Didn't mean that. My bad. I'm going to try not to curse. What were the grandparents doing? Were they sleeping that hard? If you have 5 children, you don't think they're going to make some type of noises, some sounds? They certainly didn't. When this fire was going off, one of those kids were awake. Somebody heard something. Somebody saw something. Somebody screamed. That apartment is not that big. So you mean to tell me 5 children and the grandparents didn't hear? Nobody screaming, hollering? On a good day, maybe 800 square feet. On a small end, 600 square feet, maybe about 800 square feet. Thank you, Julia. The grandparents managed to get out, but they say that they could not reach the children. Let me tell you guys what my initial theory was. My initial theory when I read this story, because they don't have a cause, it's not been determined yet. So I want y'all to bookmark that according to the document. I initially thought that mom left these kids there by themselves in the middle of the day, and maybe the kids lit something on fire accidentally. You know, kids burn shit, turn shit on, mess with stuff they shouldn't be messing with, stick stuff in outlets. Things happen when you leave kids at home by themselves, especially when you got 5 kids. They get bored. Initially, that's what I was thinking. But if they're talking about this was an accidental electrical fire, which I'm almost positive that's not what happened here, then it makes me wonder, how did were they not able to get to these kids? Not a single kid. I really hate to do this to y'all. I'm sorry. I hate to do this. I hate to indict the grandparents because maybe they senile. But you know what? They weren't senile or blind enough to be able to get themselves out and save themselves. Oops. Damn. Damn. Let me say that again. The grandparents were not blind enough nor helpless enough to get their old crusty asses out of that apartment. I'm assuming they probably didn't run because they're probably too old to run. They probably shimmied their way out of that apartment. So you also have to ask yourself, if this is a 1-bedroom apartment, remember guys, don't get mad at what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to block or time out nobody. Don't get mad about what I'm saying. Just hear me out. This apartment, 1 bedroom, that means there is 1 bedroom, 1 front room, 1 kitchen, and 1 bathroom. Let's take one of these things out of the equation and let's just ask, where were all 5 of the children at 3 o'clock in the morning? They were not in the bathroom. So now you only have 3 places that they could have been. We're going to assume that the children were not sleeping in a bed or a couch where the grandparents were sleeping. So now that takes away 1 additional room. So now there are only 2 rooms. Kitchen, bedroom. Between 2 grown elderly adults, and between those children, unless that door was locked, unless the bedroom door was locked, and some of these children were old enough to be able to open a door, to be able to, like school age. They weren't able to open the door and come out of the bedroom, all 5 of them, or come out of the kitchen, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So we're going to also assume that the grandparents, because of the smoke, probably didn't see the children in the kitchen. So that means that all these children would have had to be in mom's bedroom. So that only leaves 1 place that the children were. So the children didn't try to exit the bedroom. The grandparents didn't try to get them out of the bedroom. allegedly. So they didn't see how to get the kids out, but they did see how to get out of the front door. How y'all like that breakdown? All I'm saying is that there's more at work than feeling bad for adults. You have to remember, these are children, and we need to advocate for children first. First. Not let's think about the mom. Let's pray for the mom. Not let's pray for the grandparents. No. We need to think about the children. If I really told y'all what my real thoughts were, I think I would probably lose every single subscriber that I have right now. So I'm really not going to say what I really think about this blind grandmother and the grandfather. So just let me not even say it. Let me not even say it. Dunnigan, age 34 years old, said the mother is 34 years old. Let's find out how old these kids were now that we know the mother's age. So we have four-year-old boy, twin girls, 8 years old apiece. 2-year-old and a 9-year-old. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, we have a 9-year-old child and 2 8-year-old children. So 9 years old, let's knock that off of the mom's age, including 9 months of pregnancy. The mom being what they said, 35, 34? 34. So mom was about 24 years old when she started having kids. Do y'all want to blame this on the mother when she was young? She's didn't know no better. 24 years old. I had my daughter at 24 years old. Most of the people that I grew up with started having kids at 16, 17, 18, 19. And they were still pretty responsible parents. But that is a large gap in between when most people start having children at a young age compared to where she was at 24. So after 24 years old, she just continued to keep making kids. And knew that she was in a 1-bedroom apartment and couldn't. So let's just say if she couldn't afford to do any better than a 1-bedroom apartment. So if you're already in poverty, why would you keep making kid after kid after kid after kid after kid? But that's society's fault? That's slavery's fault? That's Jim Crow's fault? Is it really? Huh. She says she suffered burns on her arms and feet trying to reach her children, but could not save any of the 5. For 3 hours Saturday, attendees at the visitation filed past the colorful display of closed caskets. George McClellan, the city's assistant fire chief, paused and placed his hand on each casket. Another man used a cane, emerged from the church after viewing them and said, "That was painful." Marshada Carradine was outside the church and hoisted a pink neon sign in support of the children's mother. In support of the children's mother. We'll get back to that. In the days leading to the funeral, Tan Gates, executive assistant at Serenity Memorial Chapel Funeral Home, shopped for clothing in blue and pinks to dress the children for the burial at the request of their mother. Tiaras and princess dresses for the twins, matching bow ties and vests for the boys. Fundraisers are active. Let me see if y'all can read that. It says fundraisers are active. active. Fundraisers. Relatives and friends of the mother, Sabrina Dunnigan, held fundraisers, plural. One that raised at least $14,700 as of Saturday and will be distributed through GoFundMe.com with Dunnigan as the beneficiary. A woman who set it up promoted the fund as raising money for the funeral and to support the mother. Gates said that the funeral home didn't want to draw from those funds. Instead, Serenity Memorial Chapel, the Casino Queen, and East St. Louis Democratic Central Committee paid for the funeral, and businessman Courtney Hoffman paid for the burial. So not only did everybody else pony up money and pay for the burial, they allowed her to keep the GoFundMe money. But let's get past that. We'll come back to it. Greg Dunnigan, Sabrina's father, said that he isn't benefiting from any community contributions. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Sabrina's father said that he is not benefiting from any community contributions. Since the fire, he and his wife have no home and are sitting up in a 2-seater pickup he uses for his tree trimming business. He said him and his wife have no place to sleep. They are sleeping in a 2-seater pickup that he uses for his tree trimming business. Let me give you guys the fair usage. I'm gonna say some real bad stuff. Let me show y'all the news videos before I get really, really mad. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Just can't be that level of dumb. Just can't. Let me see. Everyone knows in the chat that Jay knows I'm not a racist. That's offensive. Don't call Lee no racist. Lee, if anybody's calling you racist, then hey, look, you've been around for a long time. Just use your discretion. If you need to time people out for making derogatory comments, have at it. Have at it. But y'all need to be respectful because Lee has been amazingly supportive of what we've been doing here. She hopped right on board and supported what we do. She shares the story. She came on and did an interview. But Lee has dedicated her life to helping children. Let me say that again. Lee Hellinger has dedicated her life and her service to serving children. That's not the one to disrespect. Don't ever disrespect Lee. Hope y'all understand where I'm coming from, all right? Cut the BS or we'll start blocking and timing out people. I'm trying to let people speak their mind, but don't attack people in the chat. Why don't y'all attack these grandparents for not building a proper life for themselves? How about y'all attack the mother for keeping this alleged family of 8 in a 1-bedroom apartment? Maybe we could get on to the fact that the mother has had her boyfriend try to set this house on fire before, but yet she went and left her children at home by themselves at 3 o'clock in the morning to go pick up her boyfriend. I don't understand how do you have 5 children and you're still thinking about penis? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? You have 5 children. The last thing should be on your mind is dick. I don't understand how you could even like dick after 5 children. Come on, man. There ain't nothing impressive about penis that much that I know of. Let's go.
It's it's 9-year-old till 2-year-olds, and it's kids. And the perspective of is the fact that um, it's it's 9-year-old till 2-year-olds, and it's kids. And the perspective of is the fact that um, they are blameless in this, and they're just kids, and it's tough. It's tough.
Wait. Hold on. Let's pause right there. So this is coming from the Associated Press from the AP. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell in y'all ear. My bad. So to answer your question, they don't know how the fire started. I said that earlier. I know you might not have caught it, but they don't know how it started. They're still investigating. We'll get an answer pretty soon. Can y'all see what that says on the screen? Look at what that says on the screen. And I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to show you where the contradiction is. Officials say that the children's mother had left to pick up another adult from work and returned to find the building on fire. So y'all can see I did not make that up. I didn't just pull that out of my behind. That's from the AP. So let me show you guys what it said on stlouistoday.com. Hold on, let me find it. Let me find it. Okay. Hold on real quick. Let me find it real quick. Let me see. The grandfather, the mom return. Where is it? Where does it say the mom return? Okay. Sheila Dunnigan. Hold on, y'all. Okay, here it is. According to stlouistoday.com, it says Sabrina Dunnigan, who was the mother, had returned to North 29th Street at about 3 a.m. that day, her birthday, to find her apartment filled with smoke and fire. Where does it say her boyfriend? Let me find that. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me find that again. I need to find it again. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Sorry about that. Here we go. It says Sabrina Dunnigan's 5 children died on August the 6th in an apartment fire. Its cause is still undetermined. Their grandfather and his wife say that they jumped from the apartment's second floor while Dunnigan was away picking up her boyfriend. Let me see if I can show y'all that. The grandfather and his wife say that they jumped from the apartment's second floor while Dunnigan was away picking up her boyfriend. But the AP said the mother had left to pick up another adult from work. Now, let's move on.
On Fox at 5, the 5 young brothers and sisters killed in a house fire 2 weeks ago will be laid to rest this weekend.
Fox 2's Kelly Hoskins is live tonight as the community is coming together to honor those young victims. Kelly.
Well, Jasmine and Vic, the victims' family members, along with the community, will remember the victims tomorrow here at Greater St. Mark Church of God in Christ on State Street. The funeral director telling me that the victims will be remembered as beautiful, bright young children who will be missed dearly.
On Saturday, the community will pay tribute to the 5 young children who died in an apartment fire in East St. Louis on August the 6th. Now, the 5 siblings younger than 10 will be laid to rest.
It's the first time we've actually had to support the loss of 5 children. However, our basic philosophy always just held steady. I mean that we wanted to support the family. There's a lot of grief and a lot of emotions that the family is going through. So we're taking the approach that we've actually learned something about each of the children, what their likes are, what their kind of toys they played with, what games they played, and we're incorporating that into our entire service design.
Serenity Funeral Director provided a photo of the victims, a 2-year-old Loy-el, 4-year-old Jabari, a twins 8-year-old girls Heaven and Nevaeh, and 9-year-old Devontae, adding the healing has only just started.
We focus on the family, on the parents and the family, and to try and help them through this tragedy. So everything that we're doing is focused on assisting them to manage the tragedy.
A memorial of balloons and stuffed animals created in the children's honor continues to grow outside the apartment where the tragedy happened. The victims will be remembered for being bright young kids whose smiles would light up any room and loved by all. The funeral director says he's grateful the community has rallied behind the victim's family, showing love and support, and pulled together to make sure the funeral services were paid in full.
When this occurred, our partners that we work with all the time for different issues reached out to us and asked could they support. So all of the funding for the services and for the burial were donated by business people.
The services will be held tomorrow with the visitation starting at 9 to noon here at Greater St. Mark Church of God in Christ on State Street, with the funeral services to follow. Reporting live from East St. Louis, Kelly Hoskins, Fox 2 News.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren Traeger. The family of 5 children killed in a devastating fire at East St. Louis is speaking out tonight as they mourn an incredible loss. News 4's Gabriela Vidal spoke with those who knew the children best and shares their message for the community.
It wasn't one kid. It wasn't even 2. It was all of them. She lost all her children.
Linda Barton crying for her daughter Sabrina Dunnigan, whose only children are now gone after flames engulfed her East St. Louis home with her 5 children inside.
No matter what went on in her life, she was always with her kids. Good, bad, thick, thin, it didn't matter.
Today, Sabrina, seen here next to Barton, was surrounded by family outside of a memorial of balloons and stuffed animals created in her children's honor.
Be strong for her, pray for her. Right now she needs it. Everybody gone. She lost her kid.
Oh my goodness. What? Do y'all see what this says? This is why, this is why I hate the media sometimes. Can somebody look at that screen and tell me how they referred to mom's boyfriend? Can somebody take a look at that for me, please? And type it in the chat, please. I'm gonna pour me up some apple juice. Oh my goodness, this is why I hate the media sometimes. How did they refer to mom's boyfriend? That's the boyfriend, yes. It says the mother's fiance, Travis Askew. And I want y'all to remember that Illicit Deed said that this is the boyfriend that tried to burn the apartment down before. Want y'all to remember that. That guy. This is who mom went to go pick up or go hang out with or pick up from work, wherever in the world that she was doing. That's who she left her kids for.
A memorial of balloons and stuffed animals created in her children's honor.
Be strong for her, pray for her. Right now she needs it.
This is who mom, regardless of how you want to paint this picture or what you want to say about me, at the end of the day, what happened? Mom left the kids at the apartment. The apartment got burned down while mom wasn't there. That's literally what happened. They also said that mom left to go pick up her boyfriend or fiance. This is who she left her kids for. So when we talk about babies for benefits and babies' lives matter, I want y'all to think about this before y'all go feeling sorry for the mom. And I know the family is not going to like me saying this. That's who she left her kids for. She felt like her boyfriend was more important than all 5 of her children. Bookmark that. We'll come back to it.
Everybody gone.
Because remember, I got screenshots. We're going to get back to those screenshots. Do y'all want to see the screenshots that I have? We'll get back to that here in a moment.
A memorial of balloons and stuffed animals created in her children's honor.
Be strong for her, pray for her. Right now she needs it. Everybody gone. She lost her kids. Right now she needs strength. That's all we can give her right now.
Travis Askew is Sabrina's fiance.
I love those kids like they were my own. I provided for them. I did everything for them.
9-year-old Deontay, 8-year-old twins Nevaeh and Heaven, 4-year-old Jabari, and 2-year-old Loy-el.
You hear he said he provided for all of these kids that aren't his. Listen at this again.
His fiance.
I love those kids like they were my own. I provided for them. I did everything for them.
You provided for them and did everything for them. What did you provide for them? A 1-bedroom apartment that she already had? Because she already had these kids before she met you, because you're not the biological father of any of these children. What exactly did you provide for 5 children that didn't belong to you?
9-year-old Deontay, 8-year-old twins Nevaeh and Heaven, 4-year-old Jabari, and 2-year-old Loy-el, all remembered for being bright young kids who smiled hard, loved food, and would do anything for their mom.
Jabari, I know right now he's in heaven asking God what's in the refrigerator.
You got any pizza? Got any hot dog?
And
What's that song he used to sing?
we love those kids and we're gonna miss them.
At this time, East St. Louis fire officials have not released any information on what caused the fire. And
notice how you're not going to see any interviews with any of the biological fathers. None of them.
the family tells me they are not commenting on the investigation. Loved ones tell me it's been frustrating to hear people criticize Sabrina for not being home when the fire started.
Yes, let's blame DJ Just Jay. Let's hear this again. When they're talking, when they just made that statement, they're talking about people like me. They're talking about us. Let's hear that again.
Any information on what caused the fire, and the family tells me they are not commenting on the investigation. Loved ones tell me it's been frustrating to hear people criticize Sabrina for not being home when the fire started.
So they're not going to be mad that the children are dead. They're going to be mad that we're disparaging the mom. Interesting. Why does the mom being disparaged matter more than the children being dead? Because of the mom's neglect.
Investigation. Loved ones tell me it's been frustrating to hear people criticize Sabrina for not being home when the fire started. Barton tells me their children were not unattended because...
So who else's fault is it? If you leave your children at home to go pick up your boyfriend, then whose fault is it if the house gets burned down? Are we going to blame it on Jesus? Who do we blame it on? So, okay, I get where we're going with this. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna blame this on white supremacy, right? Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna blame this also on the police. The police and the fire department should have got there faster. It was their fault that the kid's dead, right? Maybe it was the neighbor's fault. Maybe it was slavery's fault. Maybe it was Jim Crow's fault, right? We didn't know no better, massa. Who we gonna blame it on?
This happened to be.
Our family haven't taken a hit. We love those kids and
For not being home when the fire started. Barton tells me their children were not unattended because their other grandparents were also in the building at the time.
We don't care what people say. We don't care what people think, and we don't care how people feel. It's about what we feel right here within ourselves.
So I want y'all to remember what she said. She said she don't care how nobody feel. So I'm expecting for none of the family members or the mother or the boyfriend to send me any threatening emails or to be in my comment section sending their family and friends to come for me. I'm assuming that's not going to happen since she said that what anybody else thinks doesn't matter. Nobody wants to be held accountable.
Other grandparents were also in the building at the time.
We don't care what people say. We don't care what people think, and we don't care how people feel.
And that's the problem. That's why this type of thing continues to happen. And this is also exactly why that mother, like the police officer said 40 years ago, that the mother left her children at home to go gambling and the house burned up and it killed 11 children. That's why this thing continues to happen, right? Because we's don't care what nobody think. We's don't care. Y'all hear me? We's don't care what you think. We don't care that you holding us accountable. We's don't care.
It's about what we feel right here within ourselves that matters to us.
For this family, the healing has only just started, but they are grateful the East St. Louis community has rallied behind them.
Thank you for saying that in the chat. That's the damn problem. You don't care. That's the problem.
And these children.
thank you for everybody around America that's straight up reaching out to us. It showed us so much love last night. We have the funeral paid in full.
Watch your kids, love your kids, show compassion.
In East St. Louis, Gabriella Vidal, News 4.
Our family haven't taken a hit like this ever. We devastated.
A family bearing an unthinkable heartbreak after 5 young children die in an East St. Louis apartment fire. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Casey Nolan.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Tonight, the community came together to show support for the grief-stricken mom who lost her 5 children. Robert Townsend has the story.
It's hard.
I didn't even think about that. Thank you for saying that in the chat. So you mean to tell me that elderly people jumped out of a second floor window, hit the ground, and they're not hurt at all? I'm in relatively good shape and good health. If I would have jumped, I probably would have hurt my damn self. I didn't even think about that. Thank you for calling that out in the chat. Thank you.
It's hard.
It's unimaginable heartbreak, shock, and sadness for Sheila Dunnigan and her family. They're mourning 5 young loved ones who died in an apartment fire on their mom's birthday.
Our family haven't taken a hit like this ever. We devastated. We're broken.
Relatives identified the children as 20-month-old Loy-el, 4-year-old Jabari, 8-year-old twins Nevaeh and Heaven, and 9-year-old Dante. They say their mom is 34-year-old Sabrina Dunnigan.
She loved those kids. She loved those kids.
Investigators.
She loved those kids until it was time for her to go celebrate her birthday.
This happened to be just a tragedy that shouldn't have happened, but we're still, lifting her up.
A mother's pride and joy all killed in an apartment fire. Tonight, a Metro East community is pulling together to help the family of 5 siblings. You're watching News 4 at 10. I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Corey Stark. Tonight we're asking what sparked the fire in the wee hours of the morning in East St. Louis.
Here's what we know so far about that.
Thank you for calling out in the chat. 2 stories is approximately 20 feet. That kind of fall will be enough to break an ankle. Thank you, Falk Wolf. That'd be enough force to hurt really anybody.
Investigation. The fire broke out at an apartment building at 29th and State Street just before 3 o'clock this morning. Investigators say the cause of that fire is still under investigation tonight. And like we mentioned, 5 kids between 2 and 9 years old.
And real quick, if you guys would do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. We're waiting for a few more people. Our goal is always to try to get to about 600 thumbs up. So if we can get there, please share this story and let more people know that we're live talking about this story. All you got to do is just click that thumbs up. So if you'll look down for a moment, help us share this story, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that this thing doesn't happen anymore. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we start showing people where they're messing up at, showing people where the problem is, showing people where the neglect happens. You ever hear people talk about you got to get to the root of the problem? Right? You have to know where the problems start, and that's how you can fix these issues from happening in the future. Right? That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to sit here and just pile on to people who are probably going through something really devastating emotionally. But what I am saying is that the neglect must stop. Your own personal pleasures, your own personal birthday cannot matter more than your children. Because guess what? When you decide to be a parent, your birthdays don't matter anymore. Your personal pleasures should not matter more than your children. Everybody understand? Hopefully everybody understands where I'm coming from. Let's get it.
Were found inside the burning building there. All of them did eventually pass away. And investigators say their mother has been questioned. She wasn't at home when that fire started. Kim St. Ange is at a vigil in East St. Louis.
Begin here at 4 with heartbreak in the Metro East after 5 children were killed in an apartment fire this morning. The children perished despite their mother's desperate rescue attempt. We have live team coverage this afternoon. Our Elliot Davis covering the impact of the tragedy on the community. But we begin with News 11's Kelly Hoskins. She's at the scene with more on the investigation into what caused this fire. Kelly?
If I'm saying something that's wrong, y'all can type it in the chat. If you're watching, everybody has an option to comment in the chat. Only thing I don't want people doing is I don't want people attacking other moderators or other channel members. Don't attack each other in the chat, okay? Don't attack each other in the chat. But if there's something that I'm saying that y'all feel like is wrong, you can tag one of my moderators and say, hey, Fair Play, or hey, Lee, or Jimmy D, or Miss Nisi. Tag them and let them know that you want to talk to me, and I will open up my StreamYard so you can call in and tell me if I'm saying something that is flat out inaccurate. You can not like what I got to say, and that's fine. But tell me if I said something that is factually inaccurate. Other than that, let's just try to hear out the story and try to see a different side of this thing, okay?
Mike, that deadly fire broke out here in the second-story apartment building right here behind me in the 500 block of North 29th Street. As you can see, this makeshift memorial continues to grow in front of the apartment. People stopping by here all day as the Metro East community mourns the loss of 5 children under the age of 10 and try to come to grips with the tragedy. Palmerita Automotive Group Skyfox was over the scene Friday morning. The fire broke out around 3 in the apartment building. Now, authorities say the fire was contained to the 1-bedroom apartment near State Street and 29th Street. 5 children died.
A sadness, because it's youth who didn't ever see the next day, and people who have kids and family to come home and knowing that your loved ones are gone, especially of that magnitude with 5 kids. It's a tragedy.
The St. Clair County coroner says 4 children died inside the apartment and the 5th child died at the hospital, all under the age of 10. Family members provided photos of 3 of the victims and identified the children as twin girls, Heaven and Nevaeh, Deontay, all pictured here, and 4-year-old Jabari and 2-year-old Loy-el not in the photo.
As family members are trying to cope with the loss, the community came out to place flowers, balloons, and teddy bears, heartbroken over the unthinkable. The victim's next door neighbor devastated.
When I came out, I did see them bringing out three of the older kids, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart so bad. That's gonna be the only image in my head from now on. Them kids being brought up out of there. And then I knew that she had 5, so when they told me it was 3 that they found, I'm like, I started asking around, like, what about the other 2 babies? What about the younger 2? You know, anybody saying nothing about them? Then come and find out that they were still stuck in the building.
Investigators say the fire started when the mother of the 5 children went to pick up another adult from work. When the mom returned home, the fire had already started, and she tried to run into the building herself to get the children, but she was unsuccessful. It's unclear at this point if the apartment had any working smoke alarms. Our crews were on the scene when the building's owner, Rudy McIntosh, a former East St. Louis deputy police chief, arrived and did not want to comment about the fire, only stated that the fire is under investigation.
I feel him on that. He don't want to get any legal trouble, but I still thought that was real tacky of him not to even really give the news any answers. But we'll move past that.
Metro East mourning the loss of 5 children who lost their lives tragically 2 weeks ago. Today, they were laid to rest. News 11's Ty Hawkins spoke to church leaders who say the healing has just started.
5 children under the age of 10 sadly lost their lives in a house fire earlier this month. Today, the Metro East laid them to rest.
Our focus is on the family, and we're trying to find opportunities to assist them in getting through the tragedy.
Family and members of the Metro East community bid farewell at Greater St. Mark Church of God in Christ to celebrate the lives of 9-year-old Deontay, 4-year-old Jabari, twin 8-year-old girls Heaven and Nevaeh, and 2-year-old Loy-el.
They're a young family, young children, and they had a lot to live for.
Beautiful custom caskets were made for each child, the exterior representing them individually.
And these children were wonderful children. If you look at the casket, each casket reflects their personal desires, the games they played with, the toys they liked, the colors they were interested in. That thing, so if you look at the casket, it's really a glimpse of their young lives.
The tragedy has impacted the community, who says it will come together to support the grieving family in their time of need.
Well, East St. Louis has always been one that will come together in a time of tragedy. And I'm not surprised. I'm just so thankful that even in a pandemic situation or season, that we yet still come together and support one another.
Reporting in East St. Louis, Ty Hawkins.
Okay, that's the end of the news videos. Now here, for the people who are here right now, if y'all would do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. If y'all would, please. Let me see where we at with the thumbs up. How many thumbs up do we have? We have 536, so that means we only need 64 more people. 64 more people, please click that thumbs up and we'll be at our goal of 600 thumbs up. So just 64 more people. How long was she gone? I would love to know that. She's going to have to tell us. She's going to have to tell us. And thank you, Brandy, Tammy, Anthony, Jimmy D, Queenie, Dominique Holmes, Barb Ruth. Thank y'all so much for your donations. I'm gonna read them here in just a moment, but I do see that. I do see it. I'm gonna shout you out here in a minute. This is the part where I think you guys came to hear what my opinion is. So here we go. For the people who came to hear the news story, you could have heard this news story anywhere else. I'm going to assume that everybody who's here probably came to hear my opinion about what I was going to say about this story. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. I am afraid that they're going to try to flaggy my video for what I'm about to say. First of all, let me show you guys the GoFundMe. I'm not going to harp too much about the GoFundMe right now. But they did have a GoFundMe up, but everybody else already paid for the funeral, so the mom is going to be able to just pocket this money. So it is what it is. They initially had a goal of $5,000, but they raised $22,640. It is what it is. But the funeral home and along with other people already said that they're going to take care of the funeral expenses. So that's going to go directly to her. That's first thing. Second thing is, let's talk about these screenshots that I found on Mom's social media. And again, that's the mom, Sabrina Dunnigan, with the duck lips. That's Mom. Let's talk about this. That's her Facebook page. Mother of 5. So I have the right page. Let's talk about these. So I want to make sure that you guys have your underwear and your panties buckled on really tight. So if you don't have your panties or your boxers on real tight, I want y'all to make sure and buckle them up, because I'm going to say some things that are probably going to make you really jump out of your underwear. Are you ready? If you're not ready, you can leave. If y'all want to hear it, here we go. On July 24th, this was right at about 30, 31, 32, 33 days ago, the biological mother said, here go this never being able to sit down shit again. If I'm a Uber driver, just say det. Or that she meant THAT, but DET, I guess, means the same thing. So when I saw this post, I would assume that she was talking about this so-called friend that she was picking up from work. So why is it that anybody, and this is why it doesn't make any sense, and I'm talking about the mentality of the mom. If you have 5 kids that you're trying to take care of by yourself with no husband, then why would you be doing favors for anybody? If you are that destitute that you can only afford a 1-bedroom, not even a 2 or 3 bedroom that's paid for by Section 8, but all you can afford to be in is a 1-bedroom apartment, how didn't Child Services catch this? But if that's all you can afford, then you shouldn't be helping anybody ever. You shouldn't be giving anybody a ride ever. You shouldn't be cooking for anybody ever. You shouldn't be doing for anything for anybody ever. I would give the shirt off of my back. No, ma'am. No, please don't. Okay? Please sit down somewhere. Don't help nobody. Help your kids. You need help. Don't go helping nobody else. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? Let's move to my next screenshot. She posted on July 23rd, and she said, she quoted somebody else. I hate when people do this. If I ever do this, I'm usually quoting my own quotes from like 5-10 years ago, because I'll be posting some awesome things. And sometimes I post things 10 years ago, 8 years ago that was really profound, so I just have to hit the share on my own stuff. But I hate when people always sharing somebody else's thoughts. But she said, can a man as a stepfather genuinely love another man's child as his own? First of all, why would you post that? Oh, that's right. Because none of these 5 children, with you being 34 years old, belong to your boyfriend / fiance who hadn't given you a ring, nor has he given you a date that he's going to marry you. So I guess that don't mean that you're actually engaged, because you don't even know when you're supposed to be getting married. You don't have a date. You don't have a location, a time, a plan. That's not an engagement. Hello. But can a stepfather genuinely love a man's child as his own? The answer is a resounding no. N-O. Can everybody post that in the chat? No. No. You can never love some other man's seed the same way that you would love your own. Because it's not the same. It's not your DNA. You didn't create it. Matter of fact, if you think about it like this, let's just be a butthole for a moment. How much do you think mom's boyfriend loved those kids when those kids' fathers had all the pleasures that go along with creating those kids with the mom, and he didn't get to participate in any of that? How much do you think he really loves those kids? Uh-oh. Are we about to get deep? Yes, we're about to get deep. And I promise you guys, we're only about halfway as deep as we're about to go. So if y'all are ready, please click that thumbs up. I got a lot more to say. The answer is no. Nobody is going to love something as much as what they love is in which they create. You can try. You can give them just as much money. You can give them just as much attention. But those feelings, those true, genuine feelings on the inside will never be the same as a child that you bring onto this earth. And this man has 0 children with this woman who potentially had unprotected sex with about 3 to 4 different men. At least. Because I'm assuming she has 2, maybe 3 different baby daddies. And you mean to tell me that that man loves those children like he would love his own when he looks at those children and those children look like the men who had sex with the mom? So when he looks at those children, he sees the men that she just left, that she's no longer laying up under, that she's no longer getting on all fours for, that she's no longer putting her mouth on their private parts. Ooh-wee. You know how we say in the South? We say, Mom is no longer putting her mouth on those men. And you mean to tell me that he's going to be okay with looking at all 5 of those children who are all cramped in the 1 bedroom with the mom? And he don't never get no private time with the mom? Huh, okay. Let's move on to the next screenshot. We got a lot more to talk about. She said, "Welp, single again." This is really where we start to get into the root of what I'm about to say. And I'm asking and begging and pleading with you guys, please don't flag my video just because you don't like the conclusions that I'm drawing. I'm about to paint a picture. I'm Picasso. This is my canvas, and I'm painting a picture. This is going to hurt. I'm painting a picture to show you guys that I don't think that the mom loved her kids the way that everybody said that she did. I'm going to paint a picture to show you guys that the boyfriend don't love those kids the way that he said that he did. Y'all remember the little boy that was murdered out in Las Vegas by mom's boyfriend, and he got on camera talking about, "Yeah, man, can y'all please help us find the kid? We don't know where the kid's at." You know what I'm saying? We don't know where the kid's at, but we just really want y'all to help us find the kid. Right? Clearly these fools have no problem getting on camera and telling y'all how much that they love and care for these kids after they're dead, after they're missing. And on top of that, how is this man your fiance in the month of August, the week of August, when this house fire starts, but you just said that you were single on July the 21st? Oops. That's the mom's words. She posted that. Y'all get what I'm saying? How much did either one of them love them kids? Well, single again. So that means they must have broken up. That means they must have had issues. Let me hearken back to what Illicit Deeds said earlier. Illicit Deeds, which you guys can actually check on illicitdeeds.com, Facebook at Illicit Deeds, and also check Illicit Deeds on YouTube. Illicit Deeds said that that the boyfriend tried to set her house on fire before. Did y'all catch that? Illicit Deeds said that the boyfriend at some other point tried to set this house on fire before. So bookmark that. Look at the fact that she's talking about she's single, and imagine what that might be like for this unstable creature of a boyfriend that don't know whether he's coming or going. And you clearly see she don't have no problem switching men, seeing the fact that her youngest child is only 2 years old. That's about 24 months. She's already up under a new dude. And in less than 24 months, she's already talking about she's single again. Huh? Somebody's panties are on fire. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Can somebody please tell me what that says on my screen? That is a screenshot from the biological mother on July the 8th. What does that say? Can somebody type those letters in the chat for me? What does that say? What is she saying about her kids? Kids irk. Kids irk. You can draw whatever conclusions you want to with that, but again, you have to remember, all I'm doing is painting a picture of why I believe that they need to do a hell of a lot more investigating, okay? Let's look at more. Of course, we have the GoFundMe, but here's the part where now I'm going to try to put these things together. Here we go. What if this fire was set on purpose? Who set this fire is beyond me. I don't have any idea. All I know is that people are giving different stories and we don't know what's going on. What if we find out that this was done on purpose as opposed to an accidental electrical fire? Because the fire department is really good at what they do, and they're going to be able to find out whether this was an accident because the apartment had a faulty electricity or faulty electrical wires or whatever the case is, or if this was a fire that was set. We're going to find that out pretty soon. What if this was done on purpose? What if this was an attempt on the life of those 5 kids and the grandmother and grandfather? What if? I'm just asking a question. Please don't get mad. What if the goal, regardless of whose plan it was to execute the grandmother and grandfather and all 5 kids, and then you can go on and live a happy life without them, since kids irk you, according to your own words? What if? Now, is that far-fetched? I don't think it is, because I want you guys to think about this. How happy do y'all think that the biological mother, Sabrina Dunnigan, was? How happy do you think she was living in a 1-bedroom apartment? Living in a 1-bedroom apartment with one person is already hard enough. But how hard is it when you add another person, and then 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 you're trying to balance that with a boyfriend? Look at that apartment. How pleasant do you think it was living inside that apartment? Do y'all think that they were happy living inside of that apartment? Does that look like a happy-go-lucky place? Does it look like a really nice place? Would you guys like to move your family in that apartment? Would you like to live in there? How happy would any individual be living in those type of circumstances? With 5 kids and 2 grandparents, and you're trying to balance that with having a boyfriend. Does she even have a job? That seems like a pretty stressful situation to have to go through. So here's the scenario. What would life look like? I'm just throwing it out there. What would mom's life look like with no grandparents? Because the grandparents are doing nothing but draining on her because they clearly can't take care of themselves as grown adults. They ain't got no place to live, living inside of a truck. Grandparents are draining on you, so clearly you don't need them there. You probably didn't want them there. What if you didn't have your children anymore? You're 34 years old. Could you make more children? Yeah. Clearly you're pretty fertile. It don't seem to be nothing wrong with your womb. You just had a child less than 24 months ago. And you got a new boyfriend, a fiance. I'm sure your fiance probably would like to have a family of his own with you, right? I'm sure he loves you and wanted to make kids with you. But how beneficial would that have been for him to create kids with a woman who already got 5 of them? And now look at this. Now she has none. 0. Mom has started over from scratch. Now she got none. How hard do you think it would be for mom to go make some more kids? In her gestation, she could probably have kids up until she's about 40 years old. So you're talking about, what, six more years? What is she, 32? No, she's 34. Yeah, 6 more years. She could get pregnant for 6 more years and have 6 more kids, depending on if she has any more twins. I want you guys to also think about this. What did the mom get in return for the loss of her children? Mom got almost $25,000 in GoFundMe money that is not going to be taxed. It's going to be directly given to her, and she doesn't have to put a single dime of that money down on those children's funerals because those children's funerals are already paid for. She don't have to pay for none of it. She's not going to have to pay for the damage to that apartment. So what do you think she's going to do with that $25,000? You think she's going to turn around and go get another 1-bedroom apartment? You think she's going to go get some life insurance? What do you think the boyfriend wants her to do with that $25,000? Considering the fact that he didn't even have a car, that the mom had to come pick him up. Oops. All I'm talking about is pure facts based on what we know. Some of it is speculation, but we have to speculate, especially when you have many opportunities to give us what the accurate story is, and you choose to not do so. So you're forcing the fire department, you're forcing the coroner, you're forcing the police, you're forcing the media, True Crime TV, for us to draw our own conclusions, because you're just like, we don't want y'all disparaging us, but we don't want to tell you what really happened. And these children lost their lives for what? Because mom wanted to enjoy her birthday. But maybe there's more to it than what we know. But I think what's going to happen is that we're going to revisit this story, and I hope you guys will come back to this channel to like, share, and subscribe, and hear us when we give the update, because I'm telling you, and I hate to use this pun, but I have to. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think there's a lot of smoke coming from the mother and the boyfriend. Something does not sit right with me about this story. The fact that these beautiful souls lost their lives is so tragic. These are beautiful children. Please, y'all, type that in the chat. These are beautiful children. These children, you have 5 opportunities for these children to grow up and become something great. They could have become anything. These children could have changed the world. They could have been amazing. They could have changed the community. They could have done so much if they had just been given a fair opportunity at life to grow up and become something great. But you didn't have them in a good environment. You didn't have them in a good home. You didn't have them in a home at all. A 1-bedroom apartment with 8 people living in it is not a home. That is not a home. That is not a chance. And notice, you don't hear anything from the biological fathers. Not one. When are they going to speak up? When are they going to get some real guts and speak up? Because one or more of them know that they're the father of these kids. They could have had an opportunity to speak up and say something. They haven't done so. But these children were failed because they did not have a secure start, which starts with the nuclear family under one roof. Biological mother, biological father, put the kids under one roof. Anytime you have children, you should absolutely have a bedroom for each and every child. If you can't afford to do that, then why are we continuing to cramp children and force children on top of each other? I don't think people really understand. Some people have grown up in those situations and they turned out fine, but I really don't think that people understand how difficult that is for siblings to live on top of each other, literally. Me and my brother and my sister, we struggle with that a little bit. It caused us to have some dissension between us, but once I moved out and then my brother moved out, my sister moved out, we get along great now. And I love my brother and I love my sister, but it was very difficult for us to really learn to cohese together. So I know how hard that is whenever you're trying to put multiple people in one bedroom or 2 bedrooms. Everybody needs their space. And when you don't have that space, when you don't have time to think and breathe to yourself, especially when you're growing up, it can cause issues. These children were brought into this world with no plan. And guess what? That's how the majority of our children are brought into this world. We're the AFC. We believe that babies' lives matter. I don't know how long this video is going to stay up, but it would be nice if I could have an opinion and my video can stay up so more people can chime in and tell us what they had to say about this. But it's just my opinion. I want to say RIP to these beautiful children, these beautiful souls, and I really wish they were brought into this world under better circumstances and that they could have grown up to become something great. To my young princes and young princesses, RIP. RIP. I'm DJ Just J, and I thank y'all for listening with an open mind and an open heart. So from my heart to yours, I love you all. Thank y'all for listening to this story, but I promise you we'll be back with an update, okay? Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, we spent a lot of time on this story. I actually have 2 more stories, so we're going to jump right into it if that's okay. Let's talk about this story. Oh boy, this is going to break y'all heart. Did y'all hear about the mother that passed away? This mother died with her newborn baby on top of her, resting on her, and this baby survived for like 2 to 3 days while her mom was decomposing. How many of y'all heard about this story? I'm going to warn you guys, this is going to be really hard to listen to, so if people need to leave, I understand, but I still got a lot more to say, okay? Ooh, excuse me. What the freak? Uh-oh. I hope nothing happens. Hold on. Let me see what happens. Are we still live? I don't know why that popped up on my screen. My computer about to start acting crazy. Let me try to get this stream done real quick. 3 different daddies from the children's names. Thank you, Folkwolf. 3 different dads. That's about what I thought. Thank you, Folkwolf. Let me say thank you to Amanda K for your donation. If you're listening, said thank you for caring for the children. Brandy Kendall, where you at? Thank you, Brandy. Showing some love in the Cash App. To, let me make sure I can say your name. Mary Smith, chat member. Hashtag AFC in the chat. If you're listening, thank you for your Cash App. To my brother and my friend, Anthony Scott, showing big time love in the Cash App. If you're listening, bro, thank you. Jimmy D, thank you. Queenie with the Q. If you're listening, thank you. To Dominique Holmes, thank you. To Barb Ruth, if you're listening, thank you. And I think that's everybody so far. And if I missed your super chat, then I want to apologize to you guys. But you can see your messages. They'll scroll across in the super chat if you donate in the super chat. But if you're supporting the channel and supporting our message, then thank you guys so much. Where are we at right now? We are at 647 thumbs up. We did reach our goal. So if you guys are listening, thank you very much. If y'all want to continue to push it up, we only need 53 more people to reach 700 thumbs up. So if y'all click that thumbs up, let's tell you guys about this story. Oh, man. Oh, hold on. Let me bring it up over here. Let's see. I got to close some of these windows out. Y'all bear with me. We're about to bring up our next story, which is the mother who died of a drug overdose. It says an overdose. I'm assuming that's drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story really broke my heart for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, because a beautiful baby was involved. Actually, a couple of children were involved in this story. So it's kind of like a bittersweet thing. The children survive, which is a godsend. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm so thankful that the children survived. And Takir, what name did you send it under? Type it in the chat and let me know. I don't see it just yet, but when I see it, I will absolutely shout you out. So thank you, Takir Alston, in the chat. Much love. I appreciate that. But the mother did not survive, but I got to tell you guys this story, and it really bothers me because I don't know if some of y'all remember this story, but there was a story out of Oklahoma City recently this year. No, it wasn't. Actually, it was almost about a year ago. It don't even seem like it's been that long. But there was a young lady and a young man who were found inside of a house, and they had been dead for a while, and they were already decomposing dead inside this house. I knew who the guy was, but the young lady, I was like really, I would say we were close friends. I'll say that. Beautiful young lady, and I miss her. Think about her all the time. But she left behind her children. And what ended up happening was they suffered. And where they're actually, the person who was responsible for giving them what they died of is actually being charged on murder charges because they were given some laced pills. So y'all have heard this terminology before about drugs being laced. Well, like I said, I actually know people who have actually passed away from stuff like this. So in this story, I'm going to assume that this is what happened because they didn't give us very specific details. So no, I don't think this mother did this on purpose. But what I do know is there are a lot of bad pills out there that people are popping these pills, these uppers, these downers, because they're going through some things, or maybe they want to feel a little bit better about themselves, or whatever the case is. And they come across this thing called fentanyl. Fentanyl is a very, very deadly substance, to the point to where just a little bit of the powder can kill an adult. So imagine what that would do if you ingest these pills that are laced with fentanyl. I don't know that this is what she died from, but I'm telling you guys, this is what I believe. So let me tell you the story. A 2-month-old baby boy from Kentucky survived several days by gnawing on his own fingers while lying on the top of the rotting corpse on his mother, who died of a drug overdose. That beautiful baby right there, newborn baby. The mother, her name is Danielle Wade. She was 29 years old. The last time she was seen alive was on August the 13th, 3 days after my birthday. Isn't that something? She was last seen alive on August the 13th when she was visited by her mother when she visited her mother along with her infant, Drayshawn, and her older son. 5 days later, Adrienne Wade said her daughter was discovered dead inside her apartment in the Four Oaks apartment in St. Denis section of Louisville. The mother was summoned by police to the apartment to identify her daughter's body, which she was told had been decomposing for days. That's the grandmother, the mother of the girl who died. Which she was told was decomposing for days. The dead woman's baby son was found alive, laying on top of her corpse. Speaking through tears, which you guys can see. Let me see if I can back that up. Right here. Speaking through tears, Adrienne said her grandson survived by chewing on his own hand for sustenance. I think the baby's hand is intact from what I understand, but that is painful to hear. I know that is hard to hear, y'all. The baby was taken to the hospital to be treated for dehydration and the self-inflicted injuries to his hand. Drayshawn's grandmother described the infant's survival as a miracle and credited God with keeping him alive for days with only his own flesh to nourish him. On Wednesday, the Louisville Metro Police Department confirmed that Danielle died of a drug overdose. Her baby son is expected to make a full recovery, so it sounds like the baby is going to be just fine, which is a blessing in itself. Adrienne said she will take care of both grandchildren and take them both into her care. But I'm telling you guys, what I think it was the mom might have been taking some of those pills, some Molly, some X, whatever it is. And I think that those pills are probably laced. I've seen this happen a lot over the past few years. But let me give you guys the fair usage. It was only 2 news videos, but let me show you guys these news videos, okay? Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Here we go.
Mother found dead and her 2-month-old baby boy found with her body surviving on his own for days. Wave 3 News reporter Ken Baker spoke with the family about what the baby did to stay alive. We have to warn you, some of these details may be disturbing to you.
Clinging to a picture of her daughter, Adrienne Wade is looking for answers after she was found dead just days ago.
Her kids was at my house. We went to school. We had a good day. We all, Friday the 13th, First I think it was funny.
And for this mother and grandmother, that was the last time she heard her daughter laugh. The next thing she knew, tragedy had struck. Wade says on August 18th, she was called to her daughter Danielle Wade's apartment to identify the body. She says when she arrived, she learned her 29-year-old had been dead for several days, with her 2-month-old grandson alive, lying on top of his mother.
Decomposing for days with her little baby, a little newborn, laying on top of her.
Wade says her grandson, Dreson, survived by gnawing on his fingers.
Her baby that was in that apartment while she was decomposing, hand was raw from trying to eat, trying to survive.
He's currently in the hospital recovering from dehydration and injuries sustained to his hands. The grandmother says she counts it a miracle that her little grandson made it days without his mother's care.
It is miraculous because God is involved. God's involved. Oh, it's very miraculous. Because he ate his hand raw in her for days. Survival techniques.
On Wednesday, LMPD confirmed that Danielle Wade died of an overdose.
I can't believe it's how her week ended. I can't believe this is what happened that quick. Life is so short. And it just happened just like that.
Wade says she'll be taking care of both grandchildren moving forward. 2-month-old Dreson is expected to make a full recovery. Reporting in Louisville, Ken Baker, Wave 3 News. It says on August 18th, she was called to her daughter Danielle Wade's apartment to identify the body. She says when she arrived, she learned her 29-year-old had been dead for several days, with her 2-month-old grandson alive, lying on top of his mother.
Let me give you guys my closing thoughts. The story itself is relatively short, but it is bittersweet because the children survived. Both children survived. So y'all asked, where was the other kid? The other kid was there as well. I don't know how old the other kid was or what the other kid might have been thinking, but it was a little boy. Let me see if I can find, I think there was a photo there somewhere. Let me see. Right there. So there was another child there. And I'm going to assume it could have been anything. Somebody said Perk. Somebody said Molly Percocet. Y'all know like the song says. But a lot of people are taking these recreational drugs because they get used to doing it. And then you come across a bad batch of that stuff. And it can cost you your life. But let me say this, more than anything, like I say, this isn't the first time we've seen somebody die of a drug overdose or anything like that, you know, because everybody has their vices. And, you know, you just hope and pray that people don't do something that's detrimental to their health, to themselves or their children. But I want to use this story as an example because, and I want to give a shout out to my father, my mom, my best friend Kurt Dog, my daughter's mom, to all the people that keep in contact with me on a regular basis. Not only do I love them, but I'm thankful that if they don't hear from me in like a day or two, they call. Some of them, like, I always talk to somebody at least every 24 hours. And use this story more than anything, that if you're thinking about your loved ones, we all do this, where you get so caught up in your day-to-day, you go into work, you're being at home, you're trying to take care of your family, your husband or your wife or your kids, or you're trying to figure out your day-to-day stuff, trying to fix things. And a lot of times you're just not thinking to call your relatives, call your loved ones. Tell them hi, check on them, see how they doing. And the fact that nobody at all had called this woman in almost 3 days, especially having a newborn baby, you also have to ask, where is the biological father? Not saying that he should have been responsible here, but what I'm saying is if you have a newborn baby this young, if nothing else, with me being the biological father of my daughter, like, best believe that me and my daughter's mom, we were in contact every day. I saw my daughter every day. I was over at her house every day up until it was time for me to start taking my daughter and having her by myself at the house by myself. And even my parents came over to check on me, if not every day, every other day. Sometimes it was my mom, sometimes it was my dad, sometimes it was my aunt, but it was always somebody. We were all checking on each other. You got to love your family, love your loved ones, and especially if y'all know that women suffer from postpartum depression and all of these different things that y'all mention, then you have to know that they're going to need some emotional support as well. And the simplest thing we could do, call them, text them. You don't respond to my text, I'm about to pull up at your house. You better respond. If I call you, you don't pick up, I'm coming by. And I'm pretty sure that the grandmother, that's probably one of her deepest regrets. That she didn't call earlier, she didn't check earlier, she didn't do a pop-up. She didn't pop up over there earlier. And I'm sure that's probably tearing her up on the inside. But I will say this. To grandma, don't feel like you failed. This is not your failure. Whatever happened to the mom, that story will come out. But I'm going to assume that she probably just took some recreational drugs and it cost her life. That's not your fault. You can't live your children's life for them. But here's where the blessing comes in. The baby went into survival mode. You can thank God, which I do, if you believe in a higher power. You could also thank the child's natural instincts to try to survive. Children are smart, children are strong, and that's why we need to give them every opportunity to grow up and become something great. Because I think that this baby is surviving is going to become somebody so awesome. And I'm thankful that this baby lived and will be able to tell this story. I'm thankful that the other child that was there as well will be able to live and tell this story. So guys, please put a prayer hands up in the chat. And it is doing everything that I'm doing everything that I can to not break down, because I continue to think about my friend and the guy that she was with, that they passed away and they were found rotting inside of a house, just like this story did, just like this mother did. I don't think that's ever going to sit well with me, and I miss my friend all the time. Think about it all the time. But all we can do is we just got to move on with life, do better by our children, do better by our family, our friends. We can't do anything about the ones that we've lost. But what we can do is we can take all of that love and energy and put it into the people that are still living. So grandma, take all that energy, put it into those babies, love them, give them everything, give them your best. To y'all who are listening to the sound of my voice, take all of that love and energy and put it into your loved ones. Call them, text them. Make sure that people are okay. Sometimes that one phone call, that one text message might end up saving somebody. Just by letting them know that you love them and you care, okay? From my heart to yours, thank y'all for listening with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you. I'm going to tell you guys one more quick story and then I'm going to let you go. Thank y'all so much for sticking with me. I know it's really late, but we are about to wrap up. Let me see. Folkwolf said a zany opioid overdose. A toxicology is still pending. The other child is reported as 7 years old. Xanax, Vicodin. Oh goodness. I don't know if I can say that on air or not. If I can tell what the drug was, let me know. I'll gladly tell the chat, but it's exactly what I thought. I try not to think about it because it gets depressing. But you know, you just got to move on with life. Let me give you guys this last story. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me all night long. We got 700 thumbs up. Can we go for the gusto? Can we get to 1,000 thumbs up before we end this live stream? Can we get there? 706 thumbs up. So all we need is 294 more people to click that thumbs up, and we'll have 1,000 thumbs up. But I think it's been an incredible show of support tonight, and I thank you all. So I hope you don't mind me saying this. If I can't say this, then I'll delete it on the replay. But Xanax and Vicodin were found in the apartment. Pills. Xanny and Vicodin. Damn. Damn, that sucks. All right. Let me give you guys my last story, and then we're going to wrap up. This one's going to be really, really short. But thank you guys for rocking with me, man. Thank y'all so much. Let me bring up my last story, and then we'll wrap up. I think I only found one news video on this. Can we get a hashtag when you date thugs, you date death? Can somebody post that in the chat? Y'all know that's our hashtag. Hashtag date thugs, you date death. And that is going to describe the individual that you see on my screen with that stupid Lost Boys look on his face. That boy looked like a busted fabulous. F-O-B-O-L-O-U-S. You got to laugh to keep from crying, man. Well, because when people are giving me information, let me just say that, information, sometimes it's not always for me to tell the public what I actually know until I can legally do so. So I just want to be careful with that. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. Woo! Let's talk about this, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you guys so much for joining us on this particular story. It's a really quick story, but I wanted to talk about this individual that you see on my screen. I don't want y'all to feel bad if I disparage this individual that you see on my screen by the name of Leon Arnold, who looks like he could be a slow cousin of Fabulous, F-O-B-O-L-O-U-S. That boy looked like somebody took a pellet gun and shot him right in the eyeball. But if you hear about what he is arrested for doing, you won't feel bad for me talking crazy about this individual. Law enforcement authorities in Louisiana, of course, another story out of Louisiana, they take the L. The boot takes another L for this story. Law enforcement Thursday evening arrested a man with a history of abusing his children. A history of abusing his children. Let me give y'all the website called lawandcrime.com. Shout out to you guys. A history of abusing children. And he was allowed to be around children. But let me tell you guys the story. A history with abusing his children in connection with the death of his infant son. Investigators say the son suffered severe brain injuries and numerous bone fractures at the hands of his father, according to several local news outlets. He beat a newborn baby to death. He already had a history of abusing children. So one would have to ask, if you did a simple background check, why would you turn around? Like, what is so attractive about this dude? Let me see if I can get a different photo, a little bit more of a clearer photo. Which one of you ladies in my chat is attracted to this dude? Which one of y'all think this man is attractive? Huh? Which one of y'all women in this chat, if this man were free and clear, would want to date this dude with a face that looks like that, with an eyeball that looks like that? Huh? I'm just curious, because there has to be some women out there who think that this man is so attractive that they wanted to make a baby with this MFer. If you just did a simple background check, why is he even out of prison? I don't know. If you have a history of abusing children, why would you even let somebody like that out of jail? Because you're abusing children that can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. Those are the type of people that should never get out of jail. Why are we locking people up over marijuana? Why is that even a thing? Why was that ever a thing? When we could have put the focus on people murdering and abusing children. Babies' lives matter, like the t-shirt says. Our priorities in America are so messed up. According to a report from the Baton Rouge newspaper, The Advocate, officers with the Baton Rouge Police Department responded to a call about an unresponsive infant inside of a house on the 8900 block of Thelma Street on August the 14th. That was very recent. First responders entered the home to discover that the infant, who was born in June, a couple months ago, was not breathing and rushed him by way of an ambulance to a local hospital. The news reported that EMS paramedics managed to revive the boy momentarily while en route to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead shortly after being admitted. This baby boy was so strong that it almost survived. I would love to have reported this story that this baby survived. That nothing would have made my heart more happy. But unfortunately, this baby's body just could not take it. Could not take all of the abuse that this fool did to this baby. He was in the care of his father, Leon Arnold, who was 36 years 36 years old. At the time, officers arrived at the home. Medical personnel at the hospital said that the infant had suffered extensive brain damage and was covered with bruises with what appeared to be... Before I read this sentence, I have to warn you guys, if you cannot handle these details, then you might need to exit the video. This is going to really mess you up. Are you ready? Here we go. The baby's body was covered in bruises and what appeared to be fresh cigarette burns. Fresh cigarette burns on this newborn baby's chest and stomach. That's not like this man snapped all of a sudden. That's torture. This man tortured this baby. Cigarette burns, bruising, and broken bones all over the damn place. Hashtag, where's the biological mother? I want to know who the biological mother is of this baby. They didn't put no pictures of this baby out there. You know why they didn't? Because they know that somebody like me, like the AFC, we're going to be able to find out who the mom is, and we're going to be able to point the blame where it really belongs. The blame really belongs at the mother. We already know that this is a thug lion. We already know that there's a special place in hell for this stupid ass idiot. We know that this man deserves to be in front of a firing squad. He should have never been given an opportunity to be around any children, ever. If you look his record up, if lawandcrime.com can find out that this man has a history of abuse with children, why couldn't the mom do a simple background check and find out, oh, I probably shouldn't be having children by this man, let alone leaving my children with this man alone. And you know how I know that the mom left this baby with this man alone? Because if she was there and knew about the abuse, then mom would be arrested too. So mom better sit on that perch and say, yeah, I left this baby alone with this man. Because if you didn't, then that means that you knew about this abuse. So be mindful of that whenever you tell your story. not only do you have unprotected sex with this man who already had a large, extensive history with abusing children, you make a baby with that type of dude, but yet we continue to ignore the good men who go out there and work hard, who have a good heart, who don't have a history, who aren't drug dealers, who aren't thugs, men who are out there going out and doing the right thing, but those type of men get ignored all the time. Why is it that those type of men aren't the ones having all these women throwing all the panties at them? It's always the niggas who ain't shit who get all the panty draws thrown at them. It's always the dudes who don't and should not be in the black community, shouldn't even be living, shouldn't even be on planet Earth. They're always the ones who get all the sex. Isn't that something? Medical personnel at the hospital say that this baby had cigarette burns all over his body. The baby also reportedly had a broken tailbone and multiple rib fractures in multiple stages of healing. I'm sure that's what they meant to say, which indicated that he had been repeatedly physically abused. Why is it the mother, the biological mother, being arrested? Repeatedly physically abused, which means that this baby had multiple injuries that were in various states of healing. So that means that the mother ignored all of these injuries to this baby. Let's get the mother's name up here. Let's get the mother arrested too. Do an investigation on that, Louisiana. Don't sweep that under the rug. I visit Louisiana too much and too often to let this story go without y'all doing a proper investigation and finding out if this baby had extensive injuries. Then that means that the mom should have known. The mom also should have known that she took her child to the thug zoo and let her baby boy play with the thug lion. Why is she not being held accountable? Why is her face and her name not being plastered all over the news, being under investigation and being arrested? The pathologist indicated that these injuries are consistent with being beaten or struck against a hard object. The arrest report, a copy of which was obtained by the news. Almost every rib in the rib cage of this baby had fractures in various stages of healing. Mom should have known. Mom didn't care. Mom should be arrested. An autopsy report also indicated that the child suffered blunt force trauma to the head, brain bleeding, and signs of being shaken violently back and forth. The manner of death was determined to be a homicide. Following his baby son's death, police interviewed the father. He reportedly told investigators that he had put the infant down for a nap by laying him on his stomach. The father was ultimately taken into custody on charges of first-degree murder. Get him out of here. Where's the death penalty when you need it? Hell is not full yet. We got plenty of space in hell for baby murderers and abusers. The police report also noted that guy, Arnold, had previously been charged with 1 count of second-degree cruelty to juveniles after his then 1-month-old daughter was hospitalized with a broken femur and fractures to her skull in 2010. Y'all hear that? This man don't deserve to breathe another moment on this earth. In the daughter's case, Arnold initially denied having any knowledge that the girl sustained injuries. He later told investigators that he had picked her up and accidentally dropped her. causing her head to collide with his knee on the way down. He told police that before his daughter hit the ground, he reached down and caught her by the leg, which was what he said likely caused her broken leg. Oh my goodness. But wait, guys, there's more. There's more. In 2014, he pleaded, 4 years later, he pleaded guilty to cruelty to a juvenile and was sentenced to 10 years in prison with credit for nearly 4 years he had already been behind bars. But these type of dudes, these type of niggas get all the pussy. Isn't that something? He was released the next year after serving less than half of his sentence due to good behavior. He was reportedly arrested again in 2016 after allegedly using a baseball bat to attack another man, but those charges were later dropped and the case was dismissed. The Baton Rouge Police Department did not immediately respond to an email from the news seeking additional details in that case. Let me give you guys a fair usage. Let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
All right, let's get it.
Say this man is behind bars. A connection with the death of a 3-month-old Leon Arnold was supposed to be watching the toddler last week when police say they were notified that the child was found unresponsive. Police say the 3-month-old was found with severe brain injuries and burn marks.
And guys, I did not cut that video early. That was what I found on the news website. That's all they put up. And then they cut. They were so quick to get past this story that they cut it off right in the middle of telling the damn story, which is only about 30 seconds long. This story is not being featured on YouTube anywhere else that I know of besides our channel. Why can't this baby get some justice? Why can't the world know what this man did? Why is the mother not being brought up on charges, especially when the baby had various states of healing? That shows that that is an extensive amount of time that the mother had opportunities to see that her baby was being abused. There's still plenty of space in hell, and this man don't need more jail time. He needs hell time. There's a special place in hell for this SOB, and he don't need to be in our society ever again. But I think the mother needs to be investigated and arrested. I love to see more charges, and I love to bring you guys a new news update, because if you don't start holding the people accountable for taking their children to play with the thugs, then guess what's going to continue to happen? Child abuse. It's going to continue to happen because they're not learning from their mistakes. So we have to start as a society holding these people accountable. So I thank you guys so much for listening to this story with an open mind and an open heart. I would love to say RIP to the baby. We don't even have a name. We don't have a picture. We don't have nothing. But to that soul, to that baby, RIP. We need to get him out of our society, and he needs to suffer the fullest penalty under law. I'm DJ Just Jay with the AFC, where we advocate for children first. From my heart to yours, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. So we hope to bring you guys more updates on this story as well as others, okay? You have a great day. Have a great night. Peace. All right, thank y'all so much for rocking with me. It is 1 o'clock in the morning in Texas. Y'all have a great day. If y'all need to reach me, hit me on my email, theafcmatters@gmail.com, and I'll try to keep in touch with all of y'all. Thank you to all of our moderators, channel members, all of the people who donated. If I did not shout you out, let me say thank you all. But again, if I don't shout you out, if I don't see it, if I miss it, please don't take it personal. Please don't get upset. Just take it. If you sent it, then just know that I probably got it, okay? But thank y'all so much for being open-minded about that. And if you have it, can you send it to me? If you have a picture of the baby, send it to me. I'll show it before we before I cut the stream. I absolutely will. But thank you so much for your help, man. I get so much help from so many different places. Y'all have a great day. Have a great night. We'll see you guys on the next stream. All right. Peace.
Nora's Authentic Designer has some of the most glamorous and stylish handbags your girl has ever seen. So ladies, if you want to get fly, and fellas, if you want to take care of your lady, please be sure to go to www.noras915.com. www.noras915.com. That's right, www.noras915.com.
Hello listeners, come mask up with Keyline Designs, where you reap what we sow. We offer essential handcrafted face masks made with 100% cotton, equipped with a built-in filter and a slot for refillable filters. Our masks have many uses, like riding motorcycles, ATVs, while out in public places, outside exercising, lawn and gardening, and helps prevent the spread of germs. We offer bling, sports logos, monograms, many assorted fabrics and colors. We make child-sized masks starting at the age of 2. Come join us today for the launch of our new website at keylinedesigns.com. Please be sure to like and follow our page on Facebook. Our links can be found in the description box of this video. Thank you.
Check out this wonderful organization that I'm proud to be a part of. It's called Bags for Kids, BAGS4KIDS.org. And check out their website. They really help a lot of kids in foster care, giving them a permanent piece of luggage and also a lot of items that they might need so that they feel that they belong, which they do. So go to the website, bags4kids.org. So go for it. It's a great place, and they're doing great work.
Exclusive new products that you will only see on my website at www.sayitwithchess.com. These products are made special by my mother, Keyline Designs. The hoodie blankie, the face mask, as well as the 4-in-1 African head wrap. Now the way it works, it is a reversible bonnet. It has a headband that you can wear alone. It has a matching face mask as well. Please be sure to go over to our website and check out these nice new products that you will not find anywhere else.